A massive thanks goes out to Be Quiet, Corsair, Eco Waterblocks, InWin and Sapphire for sponsoring our coverage at Computex 2019.
Hi folks, we're at the Raijintek booth in Hall 2 of Nangang, and I'm here with Tony, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the new water cooling parts that they've got here, because you may not have actually thought about Raijintek much before as like water cooling. They've obviously been known for cases like the Metis and now the recent Enyo, which are the big boy things. But now they're trying to branch further into the custom loop scene and also trying to cement themselves into the all-in-one scene with some higher end offerings that maybe offer different things that other manufacturers aren't. So first up, we're going to just take a look at one of the all-in-ones rather than going with custom, and we've got this bad boy. Now, I've been told that this is a sort of like an early model still, so this particular pump unit is particularly big at the moment. Now that they've got the sort of mounting systems all sorted, they're going to be trying to shrink that down, so estimates are being that it's probably going to be about 30% smaller than this, so don't worry. Now, what they've gone here is they've gone for the proper premium end of the market. So the idea here, this is going to be able to cool basically anything and at a similar sort of level that you're going to get with a custom loop of the same kind of components. So you've got a beefy pump, reservoir, some really thick tubes with it's Teflon coating.
Yes.
Yeah, so they've got
Real
Teflon wrapping on them and a full copper radiator. And that's quite unusual because most all-in-ones have aluminium. And obviously to supplement this whole thing, they're trying to get into the whole ecosystem that you need to be able to build your loop. So whilst we're here, we've also got some fittings. So these are brand new and they're made solely for Raijintek. These particular ones have anodized aluminium collars. Now remember, the collar doesn't come into contact with any of the coolant, so you don't need to worry about mixing metals with those. It's purely an aesthetic thing. And they've got sort of this knurling that goes around the outside to make it a bit easier to tighten everything up. Of course, you're going to have a load of adapters and everything like that to make sure that things all fit together, and you've got lots of options. Now, moving on, we've also got some new reservoirs. So these are proper glass reservoirs, and they come with these aluminium struts on the outside. Now these are going to be anodized in up to, I think, six colours?
6 colours.
So you've got 6 different colours, lots of options. And I don't know if this will be picked up in the microphone or not, but proper glass, thick, so it shouldn't stain, and it has a really nice clarity. I really like glass reservoirs, so I think that's a really interesting one. And these come with a D5 pump. Obviously the wires here are at the moment, just as they come with the units, they're going to be sleeved, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes.
So they'll be nice and clean as well for that. Similarly, we've also got some more entry-level type mass market all-in-ones over here that they're going to be doing. And an interesting one, which is a first, is this beast, which is a 200mm all-in-one.
Yes.
So the idea is with these ones to try and target some of the maybe the popular ITX cases, and they're obviously their own
Metis Evo.
Metis Evo.
That's the new Metis Evo, yes.
Exactly, so that's going to have 200mm fan mounts, and so now you can put one of these onto that space like that and cool even something monstrous like an i9 9900K on one of those using a single big 200mm fan. Now, over here we've also got the new bending kits. Interesting enough, these mandrels are made out of solid metal. They are really quite heavy. And the idea there being they don't want plastic to come into contact with the other plastic when you're heating it. You don't want to risk marring things, melting stuff, and all that kind of thing. They're going to be coming as whole kits, which come with all of the like the tubing accessories, the bending tools, silicon rods, and the tubing cutters. And finally over here, we have some very interesting quick disconnects. So if you're not used to quick disconnects, basically they allow you to disconnect tubes whilst they've still got the coolant in them without dropping any all over your system. So one of the things that you can do this in a full custom loop, and I think they're going to be available for custom loops separate purchase, right? Okay, so you'll be able to put them in a custom loop separately, and we're going to demonstrate how they work in a second. But they're also going to be making their way onto some of the top-end all-in-ones. So if you remember the big one that we saw just a second ago, it's planned that a future revision of that is likely going to have these quick disconnects incorporated into the tubes, so that way you can probably expand it maybe to include other blocks. Is that correct?
As well as the CPU and GPU blocks as well, yes.
Oh, fantastic. So we're going to show you how these work. They're actually very, very simple. Great thing about quick disconnects is that all you have to do is pull this ring back, and they come out. And these tubes are completely full of coolant, and you can see there's no drops or anything like that. And they're full metal construction. So rather than being plastic or anything, they've got a full metal construction, with the idea being they're being very durable, reliable, that sort of thing, right? That's the idea. Now, obviously, Raijintek's also got some really big cases on show, And in one of them, I think it's something quite interesting that's caught my eye, which is this distro plate, isn't it, Tony?
Yes.
So why don't we have a quick look at that then? So this distro plate is just utter madness. And the idea is they wanted everything to be able to run completely independently and parallel. So every single one of these little tubes goes into a separate port on this distro plate that you can see a line along the back. Now it must be about like 50, 60 millimeters thick or something,
Yes.
isn't it?
Indeed it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it has a different pump. So they developed is it more powerful than a D5 or is it the same kind of thing?
Actually, it's roughly 30% more powerful than the D5.
Okay, so that's obviously going to be meant to help with the parallel flow on something like this.
Exactly.
So they've got obviously 4 GPUs and 2 CPUs running off this one plate, and you'll see a little monitor type thing here. That's in the future going to be integrated into the distro as well. And then the idea being you can have this going through the whole loop, individual little parts going out like that. And what would you say the key advantage of having a setup like this is over maybe having just one that goes through all of the blocks in a sort of traditional way?
In terms of the routing of the tubes, it's going to be easier for the end user or for the modder to do so. Plus, you're actually distributing as well, not only the tubes, but the pressure. You're not keeping everything on one tube only, you're just distributing the pressure as well.
Yep. And I think one of the things that certainly caught my eye is that this is a very strong industrial type O-ring. So it's got a different color, and that's because it's a Viton O-ring rather than the standard nitrile or silicone, which are used in most blocks and distro plates, including the ones that I make myself. So that's about a 3.5 millimeter one. So I'm assuming that means it must have quite a strong compression ratio. Yeah, and the idea being super leak proof, I guess. And
We have to
durable.
do because it's an industrial, yes.
Yeah, so that's an absolute beast. And are the CPU blocks, are they also new or are they?
No, they're
are they
actually
the
from
existing
last year.
same ones?
They're
Okay.
already existing ones, yeah.
Okay, so that's how that one will work. Yes. And then we're going to be taking a closer look at the case itself in a moment. Now this absolute monster of a chassis is the Eris Evo, and believe it or not, it is actually the bigger brother to the Enyo, which if you thought that was even impossible, well here you go, they've gone and done it. Now what they've done here is they've tried to make it so it's just for absolute balls-to-the-wall maximum performance. So they've got, by default, dual power supply selection. We've got support up to 20 fans, 200. You can have, because the fans on the front are 200 millimeters. You've actually got space for a 600 millimeter radiator. I don't know where you can buy one. Are you going to be doing a 600 millimeter?
Coming also.
You see, they've got a plan. 600 millimeter radiators on the way, and then you can fit more on the back here. So these have got radiator mounts as well.
Yes,
or is it only
yes,
fans?
2 times 360.
Okay, so you can put 2 360 radiators with fans on the back as well. This glass all just comes off, and I'm assuming that will allow you to give that room. Is that correct? And then room for any size system on the front. Do you have? I'm assuming you have support for the like Asus Dominus and the EEB form factor on this case, or is
Yes,
it
that's no problem. There's no motherboard that you cannot install in here. From really starting from mini ITX times 2 even, so you can set up 2 different systems in one chassis, up to EATX, HTPX, SSI, whatever there is on the market, you can install it in this chassis.
Right. Okay. So it's absolutely going to be massive, and you've got different cable mounting options that go on the inside, because this has got like a central wall that allows you to put everything through the middle of that. So that's just a brief overview. We'll be obviously taking a closer look in the future, maybe potentially when it comes out. So thank you very much, Tony, for showing
You're
us
welcome.
around. And it's been a
Anytime.
pleasure.
Yes.